So, folks, we gotta talk about something pretty serious, which is that Donald Trump has issued a second Liberation Day. Because if you didn't feel sufficiently liberated by the tariffs, well, guess what? We've got another Liberation Day. Maybe we're gonna be liberated once a month. I don't know. I think he might have actually forgotten that there was a previous Liberation Day already. But literally, the White House put out a statement calling it's Liberation Day in Washington, D.C. Links to the Twitter account. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. So what does that mean? Well, effectively, Donald Trump has declared a crime emergency in the District of Columbia and has said that crime is so substantial, so severe, so rampant that the only solution is to, send out the National Guard into Washington, D.C. Yeah, it's a crime emergency, Rainbow Krampus. Exactly. Okay? So, basically, we're not going to read through the entire press release because it's just stupid. All right? But it is scary, right? Using the military to essentially occupy Washington, D.C. That's terrifying, right?
Liberation Day 2. The aliens came back despite ICE's best efforts. Dang interfering courts.
Indeed, Pluvius. Thank you for the $5 super chat. So, essentially what's happening here, folks, is that due to how the nature of how Washington, D.C. is set up, the president has broader authority over Washington, D.C. and its National Guard than other places in the country, right? Because Washington, D.C. has no governor, the president can effectively call up the National Guard at will, right? And what happens is that for 48 hours, the president can call up the National Guard. If he wants to call up the National Guard for longer, he has to notify different people on different committees in Congress, okay? And that appears to have happened. So what we can expect and what we can look at going forward is essentially that for the next 30 days, the National Guard and various federal agencies are going to be swarming around Washington, D.C. And anything longer than 30 days requires action from Congress. Now, I believe that action from Congress is not going to be forthcoming. I think that it requires 60 votes in Congress. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure requires 60 votes in the Senate in order to actually do anything to make it more permanent, right? So my hope is that this is a political stunt to essentially try and show his base he's doing something. That being said, this is also the military occupying the capital of the United States. And that is really, really concerning. So Donald Trump has also federalized the police of Washington, D.C. And I do want to point out that so far, all of these things that he has done under the Home Act are legal. Like, these are legal maneuvers that he can do. They're being done for no reason, but he can do them. Now, when we're talking about crime, when we're talking about this rampant crime, what are we talking about? Like, what is the inciting incident here? Because there's always an inciting incident when it comes to Donald Trump, right? Well, there are two major factors in Donald Trump suddenly freaking out about the crime in Washington, D.C. All right? What are they? Well, let's take to Donald Trump's Truth Social to find out about one of them. Look at this. It's Donald Trump, retruthing a few days ago. This image. This is an image of Big Balls. That's right. Doge employee apparently allegedly carjacked by two 15-year-olds, and dude got his ass handed to him by teenagers, I guess. So, here is what Trump had to say about that. Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens. At the same time, knowing that they are almost immediately released. They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law in DC must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans and, importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we'll have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago, then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again. Yeah, so, remember when I said this guy got bodied by 15-year-olds? Sorry, I meant a 14, 15, and 16-year-old. And, yeah, the guy who's currently embroiled in a scandal about thinking that teenagers are adults, coming out and saying teenagers should be treated as adults, that doesn't help your case there. Also, Donald Trump doesn't have the ability to force children to be tried as adults. That's not a thing that can happen. Okay? Yeah, remember how we covered a story earlier about how Donald Trump hit on like a 15 or 16-year-old girl? Yeah. It was gross. And now he's wanting to hit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. Edward, the crime situation in Washington, just like our southern border, where 0 illegals entered in the last 3 months, will be a safe place very soon. Thank you for your bravery and heart. Stay tuned. Yeah, so basically, he's been teeing this up for the last couple days, and it's real weird. Here's a press conference he did about it just a couple days ago.
And by the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out.
So crime must be up. Crime must be up because nobody threatened Trump's BBs before this. 2 Central Park's worth of teens tried to jack and make off with Trump's BBs.
Yeah, you can't make off with somebody's BBs.
In the terms of government and in terms of protection, we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run. But it's not a question of...
Also, dude looks terrible. Dude looks terrible. His eyes are like disappearing into his skull.
We have great people, secretaries and all, working with Doge and cutting with with a scalpel as opposed with an axe. This cutting with a anymore. And by the way, I have to...
It's just... Anyway, so Big Balls got busted, right? And the other incident, you might, if you pay attention to conservative media a lot, like I do, have encountered this other story, which is essentially the story of a brawl in Cincinnati. So, this is from Cincinnati.com. Shows a video of the incident. It does censor the expletives and several uses of a racial slur. Let's take a look. Racial slurs repeatedly used by one of the men police say was a victim. Slur has been censored in this video. So basically, what's happening here is a couple of drunk white guys started calling a bunch of black guys racial slurs, and a very predictable thing happened. They got their asses beat.
He's 62! 62 years old!
Yeah, just like a fucking drunk off his ass, calling random strangers slurs.
Okay, bro. I'm a 62-year-old man.
I'm a 62-year-old man wandering drunkenly in the street, shouting racial slurs at strangers. Respect my authority. Like, yeah. Now, of course, conservatives all across the media spectrum, you know, your Brett Coopers, your Ben Shapiros, your Matt Walshes in particular, have latched onto this story as like, well, I mean, a black mob full of hatred for white people attacked brutally these white men minding their own business. And like, that is not in fact what actually happened. I mean, and this of course has continued to escalate. Here's Benny Johnson, and in fact, one of the legislators who is in this clip threatening to withhold funding to the city of Cincinnati because a guy shouting racial slurs at black people got beat up.
If people say, my God, look at this woman, we're going to take care of her. And then the leadership of the city is saying basically that she deserved it. And now a police spokesperson is saying that she's...
Oh yes, a white woman who is with these people also got hit in the face.
Some sort of Russian national, and all these people are still in office. They're all getting paid by the taxpayer. And what I've said to the city is very simple, Benny. I'm going to go down there next week. I'm going to deliver them a letter. They're going to have 30 days to put together a plan to protect the civil rights of all their citizens, regardless of their race. And if they don't do that, I'm going to ask all the federal agencies to suspend federal funding of Cincinnati, which would kill me because Cincinnati is a great city. I want to help Cincinnati, but we have to draw a line in the sand, Benny. We cannot let our cities be gone forever. We will not let these radicals take our cities. We deserve to have great American cities, and we have to draw a line in the sand here. So that's what's going on. It is absolutely infuriating because, again, that is not to be repetitive. I just think of myself. If that was me and my wife out to dinner and somebody did that to my wife, I don't have words for what I would do.
Cool stuff.
We need to bring back shame and pressure. The bigots are too emboldened.
It's really, really true. Also, here is another bit of footage. I'm going to leave this muted because I've not, in fact, made sure it is censored. So, yeah, this is another image of like dudes squaring up, trying to fight. Again, the image being broadcast across conservative media is all of these black guys beat up these white guys, and like, no, that white guy is like squaring up to fight multiple times. Oh, and look at our old boy. And then they started using racial slurs after squaring up to fight. This isn't like, come on. This is how like Benny Johnson is covering it, right? Black mob suspects identified after attack on white Ohio couple. Big W for internet outrage. Trump.
This place, and you have every damn right to feel free to walk the streets knowing that you are not going to be targeted by animals for your skin color like some type of failed third world state.
Yeah, you know, he's just calling black people animals. Where I'm not going to subject you, by the way, to this entire 12.5-minute, like, screed. But, like, gotta be honest, it's not a black mob, like, descends upon innocent white couple. Like, no, they were squaring up to fight random black strangers and using racial slurs. Like, it's a mutual fight at that point, and it's one that these white people instigated by, you know, being super fucking offensive and racist. It's just ridiculous. But this is what is being used. These two incidents, just these two, just big balls being beat and three racists getting their ass beat in Cincinnati. And that is what is triggering Donald Trump to say crime is out of whack in Washington, D.C. We must deploy the military. That's it. That's it. So, understand that for Donald Trump, he's like, Cincinnati, all the crime, and one assault in Washington, D.C. against a Doge employee. We must deploy the National Guard. That doesn't make sense. That's insane. That's insane. And understand that, like,
what about that one white guy holding the other white guy back? What about white on white violence?
Yeah, what about that? They never, weirdly enough, Republicans never talk about white on white violence. You know, it's so weird. But I gotta just throw out there, like, it's just a flimsy pretext. And that's all it was ever going to be. It's just lies, right? Here, by the way, I went and looked at the FBI Crime Data Explorer, by the way, because oddly enough, you can still actually reach this, and it still reports data somehow. Simric, that's some woke nonsense right there. Thank you for the $5 super chat. But yeah, this still reports data, and you can actually, you know, make this smaller here, and you can take a look at the crime in 2024. Take a look here. Let's see. Okay, we have the entire year of 2024. Hate crime in the United States. So interesting. Just take a quick gander here. And you'll find, what's this? Bias types. Anti-black or African American. 3,185 to 851 anti-white. That's so interesting. It's weird that despite white people making up the majority of the population in the United States, black people are still several orders of magnitude times more targeted. That's crazy. That's weird. What could possibly explain that in the United States? No, it must be that there's an epidemic of anti-white violence. That's the only explanation. Also, just as an FYI, kind of unrelated, sort of related. Here's Donald Trump earlier today being both racist and dementia-addled. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is a low, very IQ individual, much in the mold of AOC plus 3 gang of country-destroying morons, only slightly dumber. Each of these political hacks should be forced to take a cognitive exam, much like the one I recently took while getting my physical at our great Washington, D.C. military hospital. As the doctor said, President Trump aced it, something that is rarely seen. These radical left lunatics would all fail this test in a spectacular show of stupidity and incompetence. Take the test. Y'all, he's so mentally cooked. He's so mentally cooked, and I'm pretty sure the cognitive exam he's talking about is still that person camera computer test that he took like 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure he's still talking about that. I don't think he's talking about a different one. That's crazy. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. That wasn't, by the way, an IQ test or a cognitive test. That was a dementia test, baby. God. Anyway, you have people coming out of the woodwork here. Speaker Mike Johnson, President Trump is right. We can't allow crime to destroy our nation's capital. Every American should be able to visit and enjoy Washington, D.C. without fear. House Republicans support this effort to clean up Washington, end the crime wave, and restore the beauty of the greatest capital in the world. MAGA. Like, y'all live and work in Washington, D.C. Y'all know this is full of bullshit. You know this is bullshit.
We completely agree with the president.
By the way, here's Donald Trump is just like retruthing people who agree with him. DC Police Union Chairman Greg Pemberton, we completely agree with the president that crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done with it.
President, that crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done with it. We have to go back to how we got here, though. In 2020, the D.C. City Council passed an enormous amount of legislation that handcuffs police officers, exposes them to administrative, civil, and even criminal liability, even when they do their jobs properly. And now, 5 years later, our authorized sworn strength is 4,000 sworn police officers. We currently have 3,180. So we have more than 800 vacancies for the position of police officer. And the way the department makes up for that gap is through 2 million hours of mandatory overtime.
Also, just as an FYI, one of the reasons there's a deficit of police officers compared to what they say they need is because Congress didn't apportion funding for Washington, D.C. Like, the city had to mostly shut down, like, its government programs and funding because they weren't passing a budget for Washington, D.C.
every year. So the fact that we need help from federal law enforcement and maybe even the National Guard, it shouldn't come as a surprise, and we agree with that. I think one of the issues here, though, is that we all know that's going to be temporary. So in order to fix this problem and make sure that it doesn't ebb and flow and that the feds come in and we lower crime and then they leave and we're left holding the bag, it's very important that people know that there is underlying legislation that needs to be corrected so that we can actually properly staff this police department in order to properly police the city.
So cool. Such a cool time we live in. Also, this is also unrelated to what we're talking about, but I wanted to include it to keep things light. Earlier today, a statement from Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. God will not be tariffed. And I know this is all a very serious situation, but I gotta say, what? Oh, sorry. Gold will not be tariffed. It would be so much better if it said God, though. I'm just illiterate. That said gold. I'm just illiterate. You guys don't understand. I've been faking my ability to read this entire time. That being said, it's still fucking funny. Gold will not be tariffed. Which, like, okay, why would you? Why would you even need to put out that statement? All of you worried about your gold investments being tariffed. Don't worry. All of you senior citizens who invested in the gold market with your gold bullions. Jack, that's impressive you got an English degree while illiterate. Look, I studied a lot of picture books. That's not true. I read a lot of books. Fuck. What does gold need with a starship? Fuck, that was funny. Now, of course, there's a big problem with the narrative that Donald Trump is trying to spin here with the idea that there are just roving gangs of black people looking to commit hate crimes against innocent white folk, and that there's just a rampant spike in crime, that like the crime wave is just ripping through Washington, D.C. like a gigantic hurricane, just battering the coastline of Washington, D.C., all right? A spiritual maelstrom. There's a big problem with that, and that is that the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia earlier this year put out this page that is still on the DOJ's website. Violent crime in D.C. hits 30-year low. Oh, what? In addition to the overall violent crime reduction, homicides are down 32%, robberies are down 39%, armed carjackings are down 53%, assaults with a dangerous weapon are down 27% when compared with 2023 levels, with the district reporting the fewest assaults with dangerous weapons and burglaries in over 30 years. The strategy of this office began to employ shortly after I came into this role has been to work with our law enforcement partners to focus on the drivers of violence. Those gangs are crews of people who are dealing drugs, protecting turf, committing carjackings, and other robberies, all well armed. It takes time to develop these investigations and prosecutions, but this is the fruit of that labor, a reduction in the violent crime that DC is now showing. This data reflects that in the first half of 2024, the office was able to charge at the time of arrest more than 90% of arrests for violent crimes committed with guns, and nearly 70% of gun possession arrests. The office continues to investigate many of those arrests, even if it does not charge on the day of the arrest. Also, in the first half of 2024, the office obtained convictions in approximately 75% of these gun-related cases. Oddly enough, this is one of the most historic crime reductions in DC history. Just gotta point out that, this is kind of manipulated, to say the least. For example, Bogota, right? The murder rate in Bogota is that low. The murder rate in the wider country is actually higher than Washington, D.C.'s. Again, all of the data that is being put out is just, it's manipulated, or it's just simply a lie, or it's, it's ridiculous. The AP put out a fact check almost as soon as the press conference he did today was put out there, right? It's just so full of shit. We're not experiencing a spike in crime, according to Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. In fact, we're watching our crime numbers go down. The mayor of the city had to come out literally immediately afterwards and say, no, actually, there's no emergencies. In 2023, the District of Columbia recorded 274 murders in a city of about 700,000, its highest number in 20 years. But the city's own crime statistics from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when the population was smaller, show much higher numbers of homicides. In 1990, for instance, the city reported 498 homicides. The next year saw 509 and 460 in 1992. So literally, you can go back to the 90s and there are higher rates of crime. You can go back to the 80s, and there are higher rates of crime. You can go back to the 70s, and there are higher rates of crime. Literally, you have to go back to the 1960s to find a similar level for the murder rate. It is so much lower right now than it was in the last 60 years. It's just bullshit. It's all just a pretense to exert state power. And one might hope that that state power is limited to merely flexing and not actually using that power and expanding on that. But understand, and yes, K-Fox, we do need DC statehood. Because a lot of what is happening right now is a direct result of the failures of Democrats to actually play hardball with politics. This would have been avoided if DC had statehood, because it would be a state. Washington, D.C. might be a city. It has a larger population than many states in the country. And of course, you have people on the ground in D.C. fighting the good fight. If you are in D.C., I encourage you to join these protests.
This is not about crime. This is about control. This is not about public safety. This is about power. We are a part of a long, rich movement of people fighting for liberation. And so I invite you all to join me in this quick call and response. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Badass. Badass. Okay? We need people to organize and fight. We need people to actually show up, march, be loud. 5051 DC. This morning, President Trump declared a public safety emergency in Washington, D.C. and deployed the National Guard onto our streets. This is not safety. This is an unconstitutional power grab that threatens the rights of D.C. residents. Our city is not a war zone. And I gotta put out there, guys, the best case scenario here is that this is merely an attempt at deflection. This is merely a flex of power to rally his base. This is merely him trying to keep his promises. But that is not at all likely. This is this is a fascist power grab. That's what it is. LA was a trial run. And you know what? The people in LA, they fought the good fight. They got the National Guard out of there. Hats off to LA. And we need people in DC, right? We need people in DC to step up. And you know what? To their credit, people in DC are stepping up. All right? Here's one of the most iconic members of the DC community stepping up.
What? You see these fascists right here in our fascists? Fuck you! Fuck you, fascists! Shame! 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 Shame!
Y'all laughing, but that's the truth, though. We really talking real shit.
Shame!
Y'all need to do some background studying about the Federal Bar Association.
Genuine hero.
Came in.
What vehicle?
The ones they pulled up in. These fascists.
Oh, the fascists? Sorry, the federal buy investigators.
Where did they? What vehicles did they show up in?
They showed up in unmarked.
Where are they? Where?
Right, is the white truck right there? The white car in front of there.
That white Jeep over there.
All the white cars.
All those white cars.
Yeah.
They for the man. Hey, Daddy, come on, man. Let's go get him, bro. Let's get that nigga.
No.
This dude is unironically so fucking cool. This dude is so fucking cool.
No.
you don't gotta be Superman. No!
Bro! It's not working. Fuck you, bro. Stop the drama! Little Blue! It's not fucking working! Come on, Brian!
Fight the fucking crowd, man.
Make a fucking way! You busy?
Motherfucker! Oh!
Oh! It's fucking gun! It's fucking gun! It's fucking gun!
He cooked him!
Go, man, go! Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Sandwich Chad. Sandwich Chad. Make this sandwich famous. Like, that's the kind of energy we need to meet these people with. You know, don't be afraid of these fascist fucks. We're in scary times, but these people, these people in ICE, they're weak. They're weak as hell. It's why they joined ICE in the first place. Sand, which side are you on? Exactly, in silico. That's so fucking good. What's the TLDW of the video? Oh, a guy is really fucking pissed off to see ICE in Washington, D.C., and so he gets up in the face of ICE officers and keeps calling them fascist fucks. And eventually just like point blank hurls a sandwich at one of them and then just takes off running as they try and arrest him. It's so good. It's so fucking good. I'm guessing a cold cut of some kind of not seeing much sauce. There should be sauce though. Needed that? Look, we're in scary times, but that doesn't mean we can't be silly. All right? Also, let's be real here. Those ICE agents in full gear are not going to outrun that guy. That guy was like hitting a stride. Yeah, that was good. But I will also point out we do now have to watch the press conference, and it's a doozy. We'll see how much juice I have for this. It's bizarre. It is bizarre and rambly as hell.
Wow.
God, he lumbers.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ball.
Like, dude, I do believe that two things can be possible, by the way. Number one, I think that this guy can be a dumbass and that we live in, like, stupid times and he doesn't understand what he's doing. And two, this can still be a fascist power grab. Like, just because it is stupid doesn't make it less fascist. I think we all need to understand that basic concept, because I do think this guy did not think through any of the ramifications of this, but unfortunately he has an awful lot of power and his instinct is to consolidate it.
Ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really
25 minutes late. We all waited and left.
A lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
He sounds so tired, he sounds so out of it.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening.
He looks like he's about to fall asleep.
They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish
Why couldn't Trump do this on during January 6th? He could have.
law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed, and you.
See, that sounds to me like a threat. You know, like he's. Oh, so many of you must be here because you don't want to be raped and shot and killed, huh? Like, oh, okay. I don't think their main concern was walking into work today, actually.
All know people and friends of yours that.
Also, the dude saying this is literally an accused rapist. And in the case of E. Jean Carroll, was found liable for rape. And so is Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is also an alleged rapist.
Happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something.
You can't even buy a newspaper these days. What kind of a city do we live in? Most people on most days, the 99.9% of people can go and buy a newspaper just fine.
And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has...
Again, this is all just lies. Literally, the latest crime statistics we have, all of these have dropped significantly.
More than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know.
You know, it's so strange. Why you reference? It's 2025. Why are you referencing numbers from 2023? That's so weird. Why would he do that instead of referencing last year's numbers? Huh. Maybe he just forgot. Or maybe it's just very inconvenient for his narrative. Goddamn illiterate loser.
What that means, because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless.
Roving gangs of wild youth. It's like the Warriors out there. Every day I come into the White House and I hear from outside my window, "Warriors, come out and play." And I think to myself, this used to be a great city.
People, and we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but...
See what I mean? Dude is just cooked. 3 months in a row, we had 0 people come into the country. I don't know if that's right. I'm just making it up. I'm just playing with you. But 0 people for the last 3 months might be lies.
Why is he talking about him and his buddies like that? Damn.
God, his spots. Thank you for the $5 super chat.
People that do the work. It's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said 0 for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, when you take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities.
When you say take a look at some numbers, I just saw some charts. Also, no one said anything, bud. Dude, no one said anything. Also, Paul Martin, the Warriors game was fantastic.
Throughout the world. Red is... Okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad.
Like, dog, what is this? You're bragging about passing a cognitive test? Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. We doubled up on it. He has no idea what those charts are saying. He has absolutely no idea. This is I almost guarantee you this is like the first time he's actually looked at these papers.
Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica.
Brasilia. Oh, Brasilia, my favorite. I love Brasilia.
Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned. Lima, Peru. All double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of...
You know, Chloe, I would love for reporters to ask him actual follow-up questions like that. Like, hi, sir, I brought you a map. Can you locate the country of Brasilia for me? And then just watch him sweat. Like, genuinely, like, just ask him basic-ass follow-up questions. Did the random bullshit he says all the time.
Numbers we have. D.C., 41 per 100,000. Number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. That where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication.
Just as an FYI, just as a little bit of an FYI, here's Newsweek. Full list of America's most dangerous cities as Trump cracks down on DC. Just take a look. Below are the 30 U.S. cities with at least 100,000 residents that had the highest number of crimes against people per 100,000 per the latest FBI data report. Memphis, Tennessee, Cleveland, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Little Rock, Arkansas, Peoria, Illinois, Springfield, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, Akron, Ohio, Beaumont, Texas, Rockford, Illinois, Evansville, Indiana, Dayton, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Springfield, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, Salt Lake City, Utah, Springfield, Massachusetts, North Charleston, South Carolina, Corpus Christi, Texas, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Albany, New York, Buffalo, New York, Kansas City, Missouri, Shreveport, Louisiana, Baltimore, Maryland, Houston, Texas, New Haven, Connecticut, Las Cruces, New Mexico, Lansing, Michigan. And weirdly absent from this list is Washington, D.C. Weirdly absent from this list of places with the most reported crime per 100,000 residents is Washington, D.C. That's so strange, isn't it?
There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to
Yeah, by the way, people who live in those cities also don't want National Guard deployed because the most people are totally fine in those cities.
Phony numbers on
New York City wasn't even on the list, Ms. Genderlin.
Crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster.
It looks like it's going down, but it's not going down. Just trust me. Don't look up the information from my own FBI.
And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it.
I lost a very good person, shot and killed one of my best friends. His name was Jeffrey Epstein. It was really, really sad.
She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal.
This person was really, really important to me, but I won't name them because reasons.
Federal government, and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at.
I can't name them, otherwise I would have to release the rest of the files.
Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone.
Also, by the way, Baltimore and Oakland. You remember when I just read off that list of 30 different cities? Neither of those cities were on that goddamn list. You know it's really weird when you look at that list of cities with the most crime per 100,000 residents. There's a recurring pattern where most of them are in red states. That's so strange.
We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this.
Was Baltimore low?
And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with DC.
As I said earlier, I'm illiterate.
And we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the Doge staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking.
Let's take a look at this, because I have not heard that detail before. Okay, so I'm sorry. So in this incident, right? The attempted carjacking unfolded early Sunday morning in Northwest Washington, D.C., according to a police statement. Big Balls and a woman were standing next to their car on Swan Street, several blocks from Logan Circle, when they were allegedly accosted by multiple suspects, according to police. The suspects demanded the victim's vehicle and then assaulted one of the victims, according to the police statement. A police cruiser arrived as the assault was in progress, prompting the suspects to flee on foot. Officers at the scene were able to quickly catch two of them, a boy and a girl, according to police. So, by the way, this was an unarmed attempted carjacking. So, the group of youths, Big Balls, with their bare hands. And, also, police arrived almost instantly. Police arrived within like a couple minutes, but we still need to deploy the National Guard. Police arrived while it was still in process, arrested two of them, but we need to deploy the National Guard. What if other children have fist fights? You know, what if other children think of having fist fights? The horror. No. Two 15-year-olds. Two 15-year-olds, okay? Not two 14-year-olds, two 15-year-olds. Totally different. There are others believed to be at large. But because teenagers did it, youths. We need the National Guard. The youths are too powerful.
He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead with a broken nose.
He thought he was dead? Dude, he was fine.
And concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern.
He was treated on the scene. They let him go home.
Was tragic.
God, everything's so dumb.
Killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a car.
Yeah, Big Balls is only 19. It's literally a fight between teenagers.
Away from the White House. We all knew him.
Oh, come on. Why are we doing this?
Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked.
I think that's actually part of the stream. Bizarre.
At gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We're gonna get rid of the slums. What are you talking? Like, you're gonna bulldoze the buildings? This is just nonsense.
Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets.
Dude is just doing conservative word association at this point. Yeah, the youths of Washington, D.C. have formed caravans now, just like those undocumented immigrants coming up from Latin America. Like, okay.
All times of the day, there are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend.
Not the ATVs and motorbikes. The horror. Why, that's like driving an M1 Abrams tank down the road.
Gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night.
Until you knock the hell out of them. That's the only language they understand. Says the guy who pardoned 1,600 people who assaulted police officers on January 6th. Oh, okay. Yeah, bud.
And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face, and then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit, and they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago.
Why would not imprisoning someone because they're
bad leadership started?
Why would that be bad?
The one thing that's central.
Conservatives never explain it.
Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote, because the Democrats are weak on crime. Totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get, think of this, probably won't get one Democrat vote, because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody transgender. And they just got walloped in an election, in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing.
This was the closest election in modern history in the United States, but also everybody's transgender now. You get a trans, and you get a trans, and you get a trans. Look under your seats. I've transed all of you.
The other day, the certain gentleman who was a very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it.
What are you talking about?
They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard nobody's ever come up to me, sir.
I love how all of his anecdotes about people who are doing things, right now, are always vague as hell. There's somebody who wants all trans people to play sports. I'm not going to say who, though. You all know. Very prominent.
Have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue is.
Yeah, by the way, he's using the military to seize control of Washington, D.C. You'd never guess it from listening to the actual speech, would you?
It comes from. Never seen anything like it.
Once everybody is trans, then no one will be trans.
But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside. And
Wait. Just because someone is arrested doesn't mean charges are pressed. Number one. Number two, sometimes those arrests or charges aren't meritorious at all.
Jack, when we all transition, do I get to pick my new gender, or is it drawn from the wheel of 7,000 genders?
Wow, why limit yourself to 7,000, okay? Let's add another 2,000 on there. Maybe 2001.
Standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were going to say we only have 30 policemen or women.
Oh, wow. Or women. How woke, sir. How woke. But also, you thought there were going to be 30 police officers for a city of 700,000?
He said, we have 3,500. We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army.
Also, it is funny because the guy he went on to Retruth later talked about needing 800 more police officers. And like Donald Trump is like, you already have all of the police officers you need.
How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police.
It just happened 2 minutes ago. He's just like genuinely just word salading, word vomiting, anything that comes to mind. It's nuts.
Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations.
Yeah, it's not a big area, but you have 700,000 people.
You need the right people to implement them, and we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time.
Big if true.
Time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to just take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job.
A lot of people die in years. I mean, one might even say all people die in some year.
And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests.
But if you had a relative that spoke like this, you would be like, all right, Grandpa, time to get you back to your stories and lead him back to his easy boy. You know, lazy boy. Is that what it's called? Lazy man? Wait, what's that? I'm having a brain fart right now. Okay. Is it a lazy boy? Lazy boy. Okay, cool. I've only ever read that. I've never said it out loud. So it sounded weird to say.
And that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency.
It's an emergency. Crime is down across the board in Washington, D.C. We can't have that.
And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way.
Look, there was very threatening graffiti. We had to mobilize the National Guard. You guys just don't understand. You're all embarrassing me in front of my friend Putin.
Because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged.
Yeah, also, Banana Brains, you're 100% right. He was meeting Putin in Alaska, and he's talking about going to Russia to meet Putin. Dude's brain is just cooked. It's a fried egg.
Not going to happen. Keep coming, because
this is your brain on drugs.
By the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top.
Yeah, something tells me that that's not the National Guard doing that, though. That would be like passing an actual budget for, you know, Washington, D.C. so that they can afford the new infrastructure.
No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a 1/4 of an inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly.
Also, just as an FYI, just, you know, talking about all of the all of the incredible dangers faced by Washington, D.C. Just as an FYI, worth pointing out, this is from 2 days ago. Trump administration slashes DC's security funding by 44%. You know, the kind of thing you would do if you actually gave a single shit about the crime in the city. You know, who knew? Who knew that defunding the police would be Donald Trump's major contribution? Who would have guessed? Crazy stuff.
So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him, most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy.
You literally were just talking about how they didn't need more police. You were literally just talking, like, not 5 minutes ago, about how it's inconceivable that Washington, D.C. would need more police.
Because you'd be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street.
When you walk down the street, you'll see police officers and FBI agents on every corner, and you'll feel so safe. Don't know about you guys. I don't feel safe when I see people with guns standing on every corner. That doesn't make me feel safe at all. At all, actually.
You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed, by the way. We're going to have National Guard. But Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in. It's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them, are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me.
The homegrowns, as it were. I'm really worried just connecting different statements he has said, and I don't know how much of it is dementia, how much of it is intentional. Like when he talks about homegrown criminals, like does that mean that if you get arrested by this by these people, like you get deported to a third country to be held in a prison? I mean, I guess deportation wouldn't really be the thing. You get kidnapped to another country's jail to be what does all this mean, actually?
Today, that were criminals removed from the D.C. streets this weekend. They were rough and tough, but we're rougher and tougher. Look at these people here. Nothing, they're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people.
Yeah, no one, they're all irredeemable. They're all the same. They're all gonna be bad forever. Unless, of course, you happen to be a woman who raped children, in which case, I'm gonna send you my personal lawyer and we'll talk about it, and, we'll move you to a lower security prison where we'll let you out and you'll be able to go out of the prison and, all you have to do is say that you didn't see me doing anything, and, there you go. We're bada bing, bada boom. We're all done, I mean, you could if you killed someone, that's one thing. But if you just sexually abused a child, you could just put them in a prison and let them out sometimes, Totally fine.
Numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society.
Especially if your name is Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine.
I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be
Jazz Dog.
I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's Interior, but he's in charge of the U.S. Park Police. And I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time. Their families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
All right, we're gonna be done with this. The other folks who talk are also very off-putting and weird and bizarre and just lying through their teeth. But you kind of get the gist of it at this point, right? My hope for how this plays out is that Washington, D.C. harnesses the energy of the sandwich hero and really just kind of meet these fascists with a pugilistic energy while still embracing love and peace. I think that is ultimately one of the things that defangs the attempt to puff out the chests. And I think largely this is what happened in LA, which is just that nothing was happening. Yeah, there were protests, but there was nothing for these people, these soldiers to do. There was nothing for the National Guard to do. And ultimately giving them nothing to do while they try and show how big and tough they are, it's denying them what they want. And my hope is that by denying them what they want over the next 30 days, it reaches the end of the legal limits of his of his power, and he then has to pack up his toys and go home. That is what I hope. That is maybe a best case scenario here. The best way we can ensure that happening is that essentially we need to organize locally, organize with your local Democrats, organize with your local DSA, organize with your local soup kitchen, organize with your local church if you gotta, like, organize with real people in your real community, get to know one another, understand how to be there for each other, and when the time comes, march together. All right? That's what we need to do. If you need help joining your local DSA or your local Democrats, use ! Discord in any of the chats. You'll get a link to the Discord. And when you join, reach out to Gamergy. If you would like to join DSA, she will happily help get you in contact with DSA or help you form DSA of your own. Reach out to Dragonfly in the Discord to join your local Dems. Dragonfly will happily connect you with local Dems. And also consider organizing with folks like Indivisible. Consider organizing with groups like Progressive Victory or 5051. Get out there and do something. Working Families Party, organize with them. Get out there and do something. Get out there, learn people's names, know who they are, and work together for the greater good. We gotta do it. It is simply an existential question at this point. So, that being said, the fascism situation is escalating, to say the least. Remember, sometimes the best thing to damage with police is their morale. Calling them things like traitors to the nation, fascists, and Nazis. You're on the wrong side of history. More effective than doing legally questionable things. It can indeed be. It can indeed be. A crowd chanting "shame on you" can do can do a lot. About the DSA, I saw some authoritarian commies jubilate at the fact that the communist faction has secured a majority in the decision-making body of DSA. What do we know / think about that? Nilith, it really depends on which part of DSA you're talking about. Each section of DSA is independent from the other. So when you're looking at like your local DSA, it's going to be different from another person's DSA in their neck of the woods, right? So like New York DSA, New York City DSA is going to be different from, Twin Cities DSA. They're going to be two different self-contained orgs, essentially. And they will, at times, as what happened recently, send delegates from those orgs to the National Convention. Some of them are going to be nutso, which is why we need more sane people to join DSA. Actually, the NPC that was just elected for National is very balanced compared to the last 2 years in terms of factions. What you're hearing is loud voices bragging about things that aren't as real as you're hearing online. Yeah, I mean, also, the DSA National Convention does happen, and some of the loudest voices do tend to be batshit insane tankies. But that's why we need more sane people to join DSA. We need more sane people to join DSA, and we need more radicalized people to join the local Dems. Happens every 2 years. If you get into DSA now, you could become a delegate to the National Convention in 2 years. Fuck yeah! Anyway, folks, that is where we're gonna end that segment. Let's go!
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.